And on the ground, we have people in this part of the world who devote their lives to working towards forgiveness and activism in this part of the world. And we're now moving from our international guests to our local experts in forgiveness. Our first speaker is also another member of the Elijah Board of World Religious Leaders, and he's joined us from not so far away, just from Petach Tikva. It's Rabbi Yuval Cherlow. He's currently head of a yeshiva. He was ordained by the Chief Rabbinate of Israel, and Rabbi Cherlow is one of the founders and leaders of the Tzohar movement or institute, which was set up after the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin to bridge the secular and religious sectors of Israeli society. Tzohar has now become a very important mouthpiece for Orthodox Jews seeking a moderate path. It's in the center of the Israeli discourse of bringing Judaism out of the Bet Midrash, the halls of study, and making it available to the mainstream of Israeli society. He also currently serves as the head of the Religious and Ethics Center in Jerusalem, and I know that in his day-to-day work, Rabbi Cherlow has to deal with issues connected with forgiveness. Kvod Harav.
No, I'm debating if to speak English or Hebrew. I'll do it in English, but you'll forgive me if I'll make some mistakes. Shalom, salam alaikum, and hello to everybody. Thank you for inviting me. And because I'm a rabbi, but my professional is ethics, I'll try to check the idea of forgiveness through ethical eyes. And I'll claim that it's not only important because of the philosophic way or perspectives of ideology or whatever. It has a lot of influence on our soul in our approach towards forgiveness. And if we will work also in the field of ethics, it may improve and promote a lot of our willing to take part of all kinds of processes regarding forgiveness. Why is it an ethical issue? It's an ethical issue because there are at least 3 major claims against forgiveness when you are looking from the ethical approach. The first one is the fact that actually the person or the community that were hurt are now being hurt the second time. Every victim, everyone that was hurt, at least wants the opportunity, the option, first of all for recognition that he was hurt, second for screaming, maybe even searching for revenge, feeling that someone has to listen to him. And someone has to accept the fact that there was someone that behaved in an inappropriate way, that he was the devil, and I'm the innocent. And therefore, when you actually tell a victim and someone that was hurt that according to the religious idea, he should forgive, that's a great ethical question. It's not so simply to claim it. Many of our really honored speakers that spoke here spoke about God as full of forgiveness, of mercy, but we know also the second face of God that is represented in the Holy Scripture, in the Bible, and there the discourse is completely different, and I'll speak about it soon. So my first ethical claim against forgiveness is the fact that the person that was hurt is actually having a second experience of being hurt because he is we demand and we accept that he will forgive. And that's actually shutting his mouth and asking him to shut down his feelings, his emotional feelings, and everything that is burning inside of him. That's the first ethical claim. The second ethical claim is that forgiveness may dismiss the disencouraging or the walls that can stop people, that can threaten people to hurt someone else. Because when someone knows that there is it's a dead end. If you will hurt someone, you will not get any forgiveness. Your conscience will be constantly blaming you. People will not agree to negotiate with you because you did something so bad. So maybe the walls and thinking twice before hurting someone else will actually promote. Once there is forgiveness in the world, I'm again talking from the ethical point of view, actually we are reducing the power of the threat, what will happen as a consequence of hurting someone else. So therefore, maybe because of ethical reason, if you want to make this world a better world, say there is no forgiveness, and then people will understand that doing something bad and hurting someone else is actually, as I said, a dead end. So maybe they will withdraw and step backwards. And there will be higher walls against that will protect people from being hurt. That's the second ethical question about the meaning, the consequences of forgiveness. The third ethical reason is more philosophic, and that is the role of justice. Justice is not something that is a wrong thing, that we should actually put it aside and prefer that our negotiations or relationship with people will be out of it, and will put, as I said, justice aside. Justice is something holy, and forgiveness many times contradicts justice, because if there's no justice made, then and it's much easier to forgive. If I'm willing to make concessions, compromises about everything, then it's much easier to speak about forgiveness. But if you believe that, at least from the ethical point of view, compromises and concessions should be rechecked, because many times they actually, when you prefer, when you select to go through this track, you actually reduce the importance of justice, of making who's right and who's wrong, who is the devil and who is the victim. So speaking about forgiveness and actually encouraging people to forgive, in many cases can be something that contradicts the idea of justice, and therefore should be actually, reject from the ethical point of view. These are at least three claims. I will not continue with my lecture in university on forgiveness, but I think that the main idea is understood even with my lousy English. Now, as I said in the beginning of my presentation, it's not only a philosophical and theological and ethical question. It's touching. It's part of our existence question. Because from my experience as a rabbi, people, when they, especially believers, when they face all kinds of obstacles or challenges or failures in their world, the psychiatrist or psychologist is not enough for them. They want also a theological, a ethical, a philosophic answer. And in many cases, and that's part of my claim here in Israel, that when someone has all kinds of emotional or psychology problems, or let's call them challenges, if he's a believer, he should go to two experts. One is the psychologist, the psychiatrist, everyone that is professional, but also to get answers, theologic answers and religious answers. And I see that in many cases, those two tracks are not in a contradiction. The opposite is the true. They actually are cooperating, trying to solve the problem when an individual person has these problems. Regarding the issue that we are dealing now, I think that the need, the necessity of philosophic and ethical answers, why forgiveness is the right thing to do, is a unique issue. Because if you want to encourage people, if you want to pursue, if actually you want to create a world of forgiveness, without ethical answers, it will not work. And because these ethical issues that I raised up are not only philosophic, there are really feelings. And when people feel that forgiveness is actually hurting them the second time, if they're feeling that if they will forgive, so the next time that they will be hurt is getting closer, because we, as I said, broke the walls against hurting. And if they'll feel that forgiveness contradicts justice, so therefore, not only because of the philosophic and the ethical reasons, but also because of the existential issues, it will not work. And they will refuse to participate in a process of forgiveness. So therefore, these answers are unique not only for conventions and conferences and whatever, dealing in the high level of thinking. It's also a necessity for trying to motivate and inspire people to share their efforts and be able to participate in a forgiveness process. What can be the ethical questions or the philosophical answers, for the claims that I, briefly raised before? Actually, they can be from the philosophic point of view, and even from the emotional point of view. We can think about two tracks. The first one is, what? Everything you said was right. There are very problematic things, and ethics may contradict forgiveness. Okay, maybe. But all our life is selecting between options. And in the other side, and the side of the coin, there are the importance of mercy, of grace, of passion to know each other, to collaborate, humanity. So, like every time when we have, as a ethical professional, my word is dilemma. Dilemma is the word, okay? And I always make a joke that when a professor of ethics lectures, 98 of his lecture is the dilemma, and in the last two minutes, he says, oh, it's a very complicated issue, so we must think about it, and thank you very much. That's our job, okay? That's what we get paid for that. But as religious leaders and as people that really work in ethics, you must make decisions. And decisions, many times, are regarding and are forcing you to select between two discourses. The discourse of justice and, all the things I said before, And the discourse of humanity, mercy, and you have to choose, because there is no ethical principle that it's always right, that this principle is the only thing you should think about it. Always we should, select between choices, and many times we have to select between two good choices, not between good and bad. When it's good and bad, it's very easy. But there are two good options, and we have to select between them. And then you must ask yourself, what is better for you for your life and for your community and for the existence of the world and the future of the world? Should we stick to all the claims against forgiveness? Or is it better for us, finally, the bottom line, you know what? Maybe we'll do wrong things selecting the forgiveness, but the bottom line will be it's the best thing to do between the choices. And in many, it's very, as I'm saying again, as a rabbi, many times I sit with my students and with my congregation, and especially most of my rabbinical work is on the virtual, on the website. I have a very active website. I have a virtual congregation, I'll call it. And many times I must convince people that the fact that you raised good claims against something doesn't mean it's the wrong thing to do, because you have to check the whole field, and you have to put on the table all the aspects and all the factors, and therefore this can be one track. We should go on it. But I think that the better work to do is to give good answers, philosophic, theologically, but also things that will touch people. Why, from the ethical point of view, it's the right thing to select the forgiveness track. The claims can be, first of all, let's be honest, you are not only the victim. Sometimes you hurt other people. So in which world do you want to live? Do you want to live in a world where everybody should forgive me and I shouldn't forgive anyone else? Okay, but that doesn't work. It doesn't work from no aspects. So now let's ask yourself, is it ethical to say, because we are not complete righteous. We all have problems. All of us are also victims, and also people that hurt other people. So from the ethical point of view, it should be equality. It should be coherent. You should select in what world, from the ethical point of view, you want to live. And that's only one example to a lot of work that we should do in order to justify forgiveness from the ethical point of view. And I think that if we'll do that, we'll do two good things. The first thing is from the philosophy point of view and the importance of all those high-level thoughts. But I think that people in our congregations and people that all the people that we are connecting with will be able to first of all recognize that there is a problem with forgiveness, and that's something that they really feel. And from the other hand, it's the right thing to do. And when we are opening this wide world of thinking, not only towards philosophers, but towards everyone that we are meeting and we are accounting and we have all kinds of we are engaging with, I think this is the right thing to do. So let me summarize. What I'm claiming is that there is an importance to deal with the ethical aspects of forgiveness because of two reasons. The first reason, first of all, you should deal with everything that is the right question. We are not afraid from questions. Questions are opening our horizon, and answers in many cases are closing. So questions are the good things, and when you think about it, it's really something that we should do. Because, first of all, to search for the truth. The second reason I'm claiming is that if we will not have good answers to balance, or at least to understand why, even though there are good questions from the ethical point of view towards forgiveness, we should choose this way, then our success trying to encourage people or to pursue people will fail. Because ethical questions are not only philosophy, it's also emotional, existence, and whatever. I claim that actually we have two tracks to work together on. The first one is, okay, maybe there are good ethical questions or claims against forgiveness, but they are from different discourses. Good claims, why to select this way. And my second way of thinking is thinking from ethical point of view, why is it the right thing to do? And I gave only one reason, because if anyone wants to hear more than that, they can come to the university and learn the whole issue. I only gave some, opened the gate in order to think about it. Finally, I want to say that I think that this is also, when we are talking about the process of forgiveness, understanding that you cannot deny all the aspects, and you cannot put on the table only mercy and grace and passion, to know people in humanity, without thinking about justice and all the other ethical components of our complicated situations will not work. From the other hand, if we'll do that, I really believe that we will, first of all, raise good questions, and that's opening the horizon, and then people will understand that we are really honest, we are not denying things, we are putting everything on the table, and then trying to search our way to make this world better as a world of forgiveness. Thank you very much.